Yeah. How much of an intro on this? Can we do the whole thing? Okay.
We light our chalice this morning with a quote from poet John Milton. Gratitude bestows reverence, allowing us to encounter everyday epiphanies, those transcendent moments of awe that change forever how we experience life and the world. We're not.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. Our church is built on land that's the traditional territory of the indigenous Iowa people. And we ask that whenever you hear a land acknowledgement, that you at least consider donating $1 or more to programs and services created by or supporting local indigenous people. For those of you online, we ask that everyone keep their mics muted throughout the service. No one here today is perfect, and no one is a monster either. We're all saints and sinners, falling angels and rising apes. One place where we meet, we sinners and we saints, is in gratitude. So we're going to talk today about gratitude, and we're going to talk about grace, and we're going to talk about the human place where they meet. It's a beautiful day out. We've all managed to make it here together. There's welcome here to warm you. There'll be music to uplift you, and ideas to challenge you, and over there will be grace to smooth the way. So come and let us celebrate here together.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. I'm Heidi Levine. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and it is my joy to serve as celebrant this morning. We welcome all of you to our service, especially those who are searching for a spiritual home. Many of us were once too, searching for something larger than ourselves to which we could belong, a sense of rootedness to hold us as we create meaning together. We do that well here, though not perfectly. In this congregation, we strive not for perfection, but for authenticity and connection. Whether it's your first time in worship with us or your 100th time, we hope that you will find here questions that stretch you, people to befriend you, and liberal religious values that challenge you to join us in loving radically, serving justly, and growing spiritually and emotionally. Families with young children and infants are always welcome here, and the rear of this auditorium has a We Worship area where families can sit and allow their little ones to play or move around more freely. And this week, we will be keeping all the children in the service with us. Please take a moment to silence any electronic devices you may have with you. And if you are live tweeting, please use the hashtag UCDSM. Our gathering song this morning is number 1010, We Give Thanks. For those at home, the words will be on the screen. Please keep your mics muted and sing along with us.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Today we're talking about both gratitude and grace. Now, gratitude, we can also say thankfulness, being grateful, being glad of something. And grace is when good things happen not because you deserve them in any way or don't deserve them, but just because you're there. This is a reading from Being Thankful by Dr. Michael S. Brown, and he's the senior minister of Marble Collegiate College. And this is a story he tells. He said, a friend of mine lost her husband. Her husband died when their daughter was 6 years old. The mom, even in her own profound grief, she was very sad. She was determined that this loss wouldn't become the defining element of her daughter's worldview. So she took action. The mom presented her daughter with a jar, a piece of paper, and some crayons. And she asked the little girl to help her tape the paper to the container, and then told her, I want you to write on it, blessing jar. And of course, the child had no idea what was going to happen, so she wrote blessing jar on it. And every night afterward, before going to sleep, the mom would have the daughter write on a slip of paper one good thing that happened in her life that day. Even if everything else was terrible, even if they had to sit together and think through every minute of the day, they were always able to find at least one thing. And so she'd write it on the slip of paper every day before the lights went out. One good thing went in that jar. The practice took place every night, and at the end of the month, each month, the mom and the daughter would empty out the jar together and they'd read them, one by one. They've now been doing this for years. The mom told the minister, "I'm trying to help my daughter see the world positively, to learn that no matter how bad things may seem, there are always blessings in our lives every day, if you're willing to look for them." It's apparently working, Mike writes, because that little girl is growing into a young woman of confidence and capability and irrepressible hope. These aren't always easy times, but even in the middle of times such as these, every one of us can find just enough gold nuggets amidst the muddy river water to know that we are still blessed. Our ancestors got it right. Thankfulness is offered not merely because of, but also in spite of. And everybody who knows this truth almost always can reach a personal place of peace. And they often can find the strength and the courage required to take action to make wrong things right. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So thank you for listening to my words. Now our offering is done with my normal, terrible gravity, with emphasis on terrible. A farmer purchased an old, run-down, abandoned farm with plans to turn it into a thriving enterprise. The fields were grown over with weeds, and the farmhouse was falling apart, and the fences were collapsing all around. And during his first day of work at this terrible, run-down farm, a town preacher stopped by to try to bless the man's work, saying, "May you and God work together to make this the farm of your dreams." Now, a few months later, that preacher stopped by again. And lo and behold, it was like it was a completely different place. The farmhouse had been completely rebuilt and it was in excellent condition. There are plenty of cattle. There are other livestock happily munching on feed in well-fenced pens, and the fields were planted with crops, and they were all growing beautifully in neat rows. "Amazing," the preacher said. "Look what you and God have accomplished together." And the farmer scratched his neck for a minute and said, "Yeah, Reverend, about that. I want you to remember what the farm was like when God was working it alone." So no matter what any sort of divine being does or doesn't do, it's human hands and hearts that change the world, and we know that. Our morning offering will now be given and received. For those giving digitally, you can go to our website and follow the give links. 1/2 of our plate goes to the internal social justice programs of this church, and 1/2 to our faith and action partners, Knock and Drop and Just Voices. Today, our meditation is going to focus us on two questions. We're going to meditate on the answers to two questions. The first question is, what am I honestly most thankful for in the whole world? And the second question is, I know people are thankful for me, for each of you. Why are people thankful for you? That's a harder one. We're going to spend a minute in silence thinking about what we are thankful for and why we think people may be thankful for us. So please join me in 1 minute of silence. Every week we do joys and concerns because church is about the community, not about the building, not about the service. It's about the people. And it's as a community of human hands and hearts that we come together and we're there for each other in the joys and in the sorrows and in everything in between. Mike Lauer wrote this week, his daughter Sarah had a C1, C2 fusion and stabilization surgery on Tuesday in Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. The surgery went well, but it's been difficult getting her pain stabilized. So they're still not sure the discharge date. They wanted to thank all of us for the support we've sent their way. Many of us have sent Grubhub gift certificates to make sure that they can eat while they're there without having to spend too much time away from Sarah. If you wish to send them Grubhub gift certificates, our Caring Circle put out some instructions about how to do that, but basically you just go to Grubhub, buy a digital gift certificate, and send it to either Mike or Karen's email address. Jill Moser writes that Lois Leonard reported that Marianne Hicks has been in the hospital the last couple days, and she planned on going this week to a skilled care rehab at Wesley and then back to her assigned living room at Wesley Acres in a few days. You can send Mary Ann cards through Wesley Acres, 3524 Grand Avenue, Des Moines. If you want that address, you can email me and I'll give it to you. Ann Mowry and Al Powers updated us on Al's daughter, Melissa. They are still there with Melissa. She was discharged to a nearby extended stay hotel, and they're in a condo there for outpatient rehab for labs and blood and chemo and more tests. There are still weeks to go and maybe another stem cell transplant. So they would welcome positive emails And I have that email address if you'd like it. It's al2 and number 2 at msn.com. So if anybody needs that, just feel free to email me. Let's share now together the names of anyone we know who could use special care and attention. I want to hold up especially the victims of Kyle Rittenhouse, who was found not guilty this week, and all those who loved them. As we type names into the chat or call them out loud, may the love of this community hold them all. Oh. How mean are you feeling? It's Ellen's birthday. Can you play happy birthday? Thank you, Harvey. May the light of our community shine on all of the broken places of the world. May the work of our hands and hearts support, aid, and comfort all those who hunger or thirst for food or water, justice or freedom. May we never look away when we're needed. May those who are grieving be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Now together we light 3 candles. One for all the joys and sorrows we've shared. One for the names we've written or spoken. And one last candle for all of the joys and all of the sorrows which are deeply held but remain unspoken here today.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul.
Our first reading this morning, Attitudes of Gratitude by M.J. Ryan, is about gratitude. One of the incredible truths about gratitude is that it is impossible to feel both the positive emotion of thankfulness and a negative emotion, such as anger or fear, at the same time. Gratitude births only positive feelings: love, compassion, joy, and hope. As we focus on what we are thankful for, fear, anger, and bitterness simply melt away, seemingly without effort. How can this be? The answer is that gratitude helps us track success, to notice what is right in our lives, and the brain naturally works to track success. If you have ever watched a baby learn something, you'll know what I mean. Learning to walk, she stands and puts out one foot. Boom, down she goes because her balance wasn't right. Instead of castigating herself for blowing it, getting angry or blaming the floor or her shoes. She just registers that it didn't work because her foot was too far out and tries again. She keeps trying, discarding what doesn't work without obsessing on it, and incorporating what's right until she can walk. Fall, fall, walk, walk, walk. As we get older, however, we get schooled in our mistakes and learn to focus on what's not right, what is lacking, missing, inadequate, and painful. That's why gratitude is so powerful. It helps us to return to our natural state of joyfulness where we notice what's right instead of what's wrong. Gratitude reminds us to be like plants, which turn toward, not away from, the light. and I am grateful for that. Our second reading, Be Cool to the Pizza Dude by Sarah Adams, is about granting grace. If I have one operating philosophy about life, it is this: be cool to the pizza delivery dude. It's good luck. 4 principles guide the pizza dude philosophy. Principle 1, coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in humility and forgiveness. I let him cut me off in traffic, let him safely hit the exit ramp from the left lane, and let him forget to use his blinker. As he journeys, I give safe passage, practice restraint, show courtesy, and contain my anger. Principle 2, coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in empathy. Let's face it, we have all taken jobs just to have a job because some money is better than none. In the big pizza wheel of life, sometimes you're the hot, bubbly cheese, and sometimes you're the burnt crust. It's good to remember the fickle spinning of that wheel. Principle 3, coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in honor, and it reminds me to honor honest work. Let me tell you something about these dudes. They never took over a company and, as CEO, artificially inflated the value of the stock and cashed out their own shares. Rather, the dudes sleep the sleep of the just. And principle 4, coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in equality. My measurement as a human being, my worth, is the pride I take in performing my job, any job, and the respect with which I treat others. And it all starts here with the pizza delivery dude. Our centering song today is number 67, We Sing Now Together. Please keep your mics muted if you are singing along at home.
We sing now together our song of thanksgiving, rejoicing in goods which the ages have wrought, for life that unfolds us and helps and heals and holds us and leads beyond the goals which our forebears once sought. We sing of the freedoms which martyrs and heroes have won by their labor, their sorrow, their pain, the oppressed are befriending, our ampler hopes defending. Their death becomes a triumph, they died not in vain. We sing of the prophets, the teachers, the dreamers, designers, creators, and workers and seers, our own lives expanding, our gratitude commending. Their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of community now in the making, in every far continent, region, and land, with those of all races, all times and names and places. We pledge ourselves in covenant firmly to stand.
Our children's chapel reading today was about a mom with a small child who had lost her husband, who wanted her little girl to focus on the positive, so each day she had her write something she was grateful for in crayon. End of the month, they read them all together, just the two of them. Some things were big and some small, but every day that child found something to be grateful for, something positive. She did it all by herself. November is a month where being grateful gets thrown around a lot, especially online. It's trendy to publicly share your gratitude. And some of you may have seen this, 30 days of gratitude. Daily posts on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. There are gratitude lists and mindful gratitude practices on Pinterest. And for me, when you look at all of those, they're all perfect. Just like when somebody calls you on the phone to tell you all the things they're grateful for, or sends you that annual Christmas letter. You know that letter, where you're sitting there thinking, my kid ate Play-Doh this week and yours got into Harvard. So we all know what this looks like. Most of the posts and the calls and the letters, they're not about gratitude. They're about ego. They're about painting a perfect picture for the world to see and admire and even maybe envy a little. Some of the ones I've seen, legs and feet on a perfect beach with the caption, "Too blessed to be stressed." Hashtag grateful. I'll bet you are. An amazing picture of what I know is a $120 steak and a $14 baked potato with a $52 whiskey, with the message, "So grateful for the little things." My cat didn't throw up in my shoe this morning. I'm grateful. And it goes on and on. There's filtered pictures of hands holding coffee mugs with perfect barista art, hot coffee and the smell of snow, perfection. Hashtag simple life. That coffee costs $14. I keep waiting for someone to do a commercial. New porcelain nails, $52, overpriced, overcooked coffee drink at the place with the right color mug, $4.89. Realizing that you did get a picture before your kid knocked the cup over while screaming, priceless. Being grateful for the amazing and the perfect and the lucky and the beautiful, that's great. That is great. I had to think about why these pictures felt so bad to me. I'm grateful for my morning mug of coffee. Sometimes I look at my art supplies and I think about how beautiful the colors look with the hardwood of the table that I work on. And I could take a picture and tag it, "Really grateful for beauty this year." I mean, who isn't? But then I realized I wouldn't actually take that picture. Not of the scene that had really made me grateful. Thought about it for a minute. First, I'd move my car keys because they were in the picture. I'd had them in my hand when I came down. And then I'd move my mouse just to get it out of the way because, we're talking about the pretty colors. Then I'd wipe the table a little, get the crumbs, move that stack of papers, try to get a better shot of how clean and pretty it looks. And you know what? That wasn't what I was grateful for. Gratitude is messy. I saw it. I appreciated it before I tidied up. When your children were little and they grinned up at you with a mouthful of Oreo cookie and your heart broke in your chest because it was so beautiful. You didn't go wipe them off first. You were just glad they were there and grinning. I could take a picture. Instead of having an authentic moment to share, the equivalent of that little girl's heartfelt, crayoned in, I was happy today for popcorn, we create curated moments, staged moments. We create what it would have looked like if every single day the mother in that story had had the little girl write something positive, but instead of saving it, the mother rewrote it in adorable penmanship, and the crayon color that was perfect for the paper, and the words were darling and expressive, and then she posted it on Pinterest. We curate the moments. Those perfect pictures online, those perfect holiday letters, the conversations with friends where nothing is quite real and everything is cleaned up, those aren't the things that anyone is really grateful for. Gratitude is messy. Staging gratitude, whether we do it online or in our personal conversations, takes away something important for us and the audience we're sharing it with. It takes away all those things sitting just outside the frame of that curated picture. It removes context. It simplifies things to a ridiculous point. It removes the contrast where we are choosing to live in gratitude and looking for good. And it leaves nowhere for grace because we've airbrushed it out. When we find the joy, when we find the spot of warmth in the midst of the dark or the discomfort or the pain, that is where the gratitude in our lives is the most beautiful and the most healing. It's the point where we are being offered grace, a moment of unearned, unlooked for goodness. Modern culture bombards us with the message that gratitude is pretty. It has to be pretty. We're shown that it's heartwarming and uplifting. Hallmark movies, anyone? We see car commercials and it looks like people are going to faint. They're so grateful for their new car. We hear heartwarming stories of everyday heroes who do things and are rewarded from unexpected sources and are so grateful. So we learn to stage, we learn to curate our gratitude, even in our own heads. Something happens in our life and something in the back of our brain goes, oh, this is a Hallmark moment. I should be glad. There was a study in Current Opinion and Psychology in 2016, and it found that all those perfectly curated moments in real life and on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter, they don't make people seeing them feel better. They don't make them feel better at all. They make them depressed. People are drawn together not by gratitude for amazing abundance, but by moments of grace in the face of adversity. People are drawn together by gratitude in spite of the circumstances, not by gratitude for the expected awesomeness of life. We share a deep human bond in the presence of pain, and even more so in the presence of unexpected beauty in the midst of gritty reality. Some of you may remember the boats on New York Harbor on 9/11. People all over this country pulled together and wept and cheered together as those fishermen and ferry drivers and private yachtsmen and people who own tiny 16-foot pleasure craft, they returned to the docks over and over and over again without any pay, without any ability to get reimbursed. I listened to one fisherman who had ferried people for 9 hours without pause. And he told the local news he was standing there exhausted, filthy dirty. I'm so glad I can do this here. I just knew I had to come. Gratitude finds meaning. It makes meaning in life. Writer Julia Cho, the author of The Elephant's Journal, writes, "Gratitude finds meaning and hope in the context of life in all its fullness, in both the glorious and the horrifying." Carrie ten Boom, a Dutch survivor of the Nazi concentration camps, shares in her book, The Hiding Place, how her sister Betsy found things to thank God for even in the camp. She thanked him for the fleas infesting their tent, something that confounded Carrie, but later proved useful when the guards avoided the barracks because of those fleas. Resulted in the women getting a lot of freedom. Brother David Steindl-Rast, a Benedictine monk, writes, "Gratefulness is the inner gesture of giving meaning to our life by receiving life as a gift." I love that. For all of us, gratitude and grace are gifts. For quite a few of us, it's hard to accept a gift, to accept help, to accept being on the receiving side. Because one of the things we know happens in the modern world is that people keep score, right? People keep score, and they're afraid others are keeping score too. What do I owe? Who owes me? Have I kept everything even? Am I grateful enough? Have I done enough back? I can't just receive. That'd be terrible. Am I being a good you? And Julia Cho writes, in a world where we're always trying to keep things even and pay people back, it's humbling to receive something we haven't earned. Even though life is hard and we're not perfect, there is a redemptive thread of goodness we find running through it that surprises us. It's often dark and infested, but still a gift. This kind of gratitude feeds hope, not an ego. When we edit our lives publicly and privately to show and be thankful for the perfect moments, we edit out the moments where grace enters in. Being grateful isn't tame. Gratitude is wild. It's not about the perfect moment on the perfect vacation that you paid for and expected. It's not about the perfect steak or the coffee. Those things are good. It isn't about ego or being glad that our lives are so filled with wonderful things. You can be grateful for all that. That's okay. True, deep gratitude doesn't edit. It's about the fleas in the concentration camp. It's about a child's messy, crayon-written slips of paper noting what was good about the day 2 days after her dad died. It's about fishermen saving people from terrorism. It's about finding a COVID mask in a color that you adore. It's about finding the joy in the messy, beautiful table of your life without cleaning it up to make it presentable to the rest of us. Grace slips into our lives through the cracks in the darkness. Grace, those unplanned, unexpected moments of goodness, grace finds us all, saint or sinner or somewhere in between. And in those moments, those wild, uncurated, unedited moments, we are truly grateful. A bouquet of roses you bought easily with pocket change is lovely. A rose growing up through the concrete is exquisite. Don't ever cheapen your life by photoshopping out the concrete and replacing it with a fake silk backdrop to show off that rose. Gratitude's messy, and grace is even messier. Live your life in deep gratitude for the wild moments of grace. Celebrate the fleas. Celebrate the mess. Celebrate the real. You deserve it. Amen.
When we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and warmth with us, multiplying their power by all our lives and sharing it with the world. Our final song today is number 407. We're going to sit at the welcome table. The words will be on the screens, and please keep your mics muted and sing along at home as you like.
We're gonna sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. All kinds of people around that table. All kinds of people around that table one of these days, hallelujah. All kinds of people around that table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table. No fancy style at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days.
Gratitude bestows reverence, allowing us to encounter everyday epiphanies, those transcendent moments of awe that change forever how we experience life and the world. May we all go out in gratitude and in grace, peace, ashe, and may it be so.
Soul of truth, eternal goodness, sojourn with us as we part. Fill our minds with high endeavor. Keep us just and pure.